So, how many people are excited to spend time in a nursing home? Show of hands. Anybody? Two, great. Not very many people, and the majority of you are not alone. A recent study found that a large percentage of people said they would rather die than spend time in a nursing home. And we know that suicide is a serious risk when individuals are told that they'll be spending time in a nursing home or other long-term care facility. So what makes these spaces, these places that are designed to care for us and heal us, what makes them so desolate? Why do people literally fear them worse than death? Well, of course, that's a complicated question, but one of the issues is unhappy and dissatisfied caregivers. So, nursing assistants provide 70% of the care in these environments. And we also know that those nursing assistants have a turnover rate of 75%. That means that every year on average, 75% of nursing assistants will be fired or quit their job. And at individual facilities, that number is as high as 300%. That's astounding. And we know that that high turnover leads and contributes to the poor care and the sense of isolation and loneliness that people fear most about these facilities. So I wanted to understand what makes these environments so desolate. Why is it so difficult to be a nursing assistant and a caregiver? So I took a job as a home health aide, and I started volunteering in these facilities to get closer to this care, to try and understand it. And the first thing you notice when you spend time in these facilities is that being a nursing assistant is incredibly grueling. Your days are filled with senescence. Bodily fluids are everywhere. And you're constantly surrounded by the sights and sounds of dying and aging. Your shifts are filled with backbreaking work, moving and caring for patients that are agitated, upset with you, and probably not very appreciative of the work and the care you're trying to provide. On top of that, management treats you like machinery, because they know you'll likely be gone by the end of the year. So why would they take the time and energy to invest in you? And finally, these systems are not set up to incentivize this sort of emotional support. Nursing homes are designed to keep people safe. We certify them and measure them based on how many falls patients have, how many infections patients have. And as a nursing assistant, that's how you're evaluated, not by how many people you emotionally connect with, or how many people you help to die and age with dignity. So when you put all these factors together, it starts to make sense why these environments are terrifying, why our loved ones aren't getting the care they deserve, and why these caregivers are fleeing these positions at an alarming rate. Now at this point, you might be wondering, how is this hopeful? Well, here's the exciting and hopeful part. We know how to fix these systems. We know how to help caregivers see the value in their work, provide better care, and how to redesign nursing homes to make them hopeful places. So, one potential solution is something called job crafting. Now, job crafting is a psychology term, but it refers to the way an employee and individual shapes how they think about the work they do, to find more meaning and more value in it. Now, individuals can do this, but organizations can help their employees job craft. And the best example of this might be Walt Disney World. So, bear with me. Walt Disney World takes a lot of time and energy to invest in their employees and help them understand how their work has meaning and how it contributes to the Disney mission. So every new employee at a theme park goes through an orientation where they're taught the history, the mission, and the values of Walt Disney World. What the mouse stands for. But more than that, you're taught how your individual job contributes to that mission. So for example, you're not just picking up trash, no. You are creating an environment where magic can happen. Every time a child walks through that immaculate space, you make that happen. And no, you're not just serving macaroni and cheese to snotty children. No. You have an opportunity to make the Disney magic happen every single day and every time you interact with a guest. And at this point, might sound like lip service, but Disney goes further than that. You'll notice that their employees have very bright uniforms, and everybody's required to wear a big name tag. Because Disney tells you, whether you're the CEO or a trash collector, you are an important member of our cast, and you have a duty and an opportunity to see this mission come to life every single day. So they back it up. Now, what does this look like for a nursing assistant? Well, it's helping nursing assistants see that they're not just changing adult diapers. They're not just rotating patients to avoid bed sores. No. Every day when you walk into the office, you have an opportunity to help somebody age and die with dignity. You have an opportunity to create a moment of grace in somebody's life every single day. That's what it looks like for nursing assistants. And I've seen this firsthand. So, when I was a home health aide, one of my patients began to die. He was hospitalized, and I called his family, and they immediately got on a plane to come be with him. But it was clear that he was dying quickly, and he probably wouldn't make it in time. And he was terrified. I always remember he sat there at the end of my shift just mouthing to me, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die." And it was the end of my shift, and I was getting ready to leave. But I realized that I had been taught and supported to believe that I wasn't just a caregiver. I was there to provide dignity at the end of life, to be a guide and a companion to help somebody die with grace. And so I turned around, and I went back in, and I opened the windows, opened the blinds, and we put on his favorite Buddy Holly album, and I sat there and held his hand and just told him that it was okay, that his family was on their way, that he had done everything he needed to do, and it was okay to die. And he calmed down, and together we sat there while he passed, watching the sunset. And I'm so grateful that I got to have that experience every day of my life. And that is the power of job crafting, of helping employees and caregivers to find those moments to touch somebody's life the way we all want to be touched, the way we want our loved ones to be treated when they are in that situation. But it's not just these sorts of stories. The data backs it up. We know that nursing homes that implement these sorts of programs, that change their culture to better support their caregivers, have increased patient and staff satisfaction. And they see that turnover, the turnover that we know is associated with poor care, goes down. And nursing homes that have gotten it right, that have changed their culture to protect dignity at the end of life, they see medication usage go down. And they even see mortality decrease. It is literally saving lives. So, the natural question is, if we know how to fix the problem, and if we've known how to fix the problem for decades, and it's cost effective, why do we still fear nursing homes? Why are they still such desolate places? And again, it's a complicated question, but there are a few reasons. First of all, fixing nursing homes isn't sexy or glamorous. Nobody gets excited to go reinvent a nursing home. It just doesn't attract people in the same way other policy reform does. On top of that, The psychology literature tells us that we don't like to think about the end of life. Contemplating and confronting our own mortality is terrifying, and personal experience probably tells us the same thing. But we need to, in order to be proactive, to understand that yes, we will need these systems eventually, and they need to change. But finally, and maybe most importantly, the financial and regulatory structure isn't set up to incentivize this change. So, nursing homes are paid to keep people safe, like I said. So as long as they keep people safe, keep them from falling, keep them from getting infected, and maybe keep them from needing too much medication, they'll get a check. And they will continue to operate in this way. So we need to start demanding this change. Demanding that dignity at the end of life be a right. Because we know that a majority of older adults will spend some time in a nursing home. So this is an issue that will directly impact everybody in one way or another. So, what can we do? How can you and I demand that dignity at the end of life become a right? Well, first of all, if you're able, go volunteer in these facilities. Go spend time with these people and remind them why they don't need to be terrified of isolation. Remind them that they are still part of the community and that people care about them. But more than that, when you go to look at a nursing home, for yourself, for your loved ones, ask them, what's your turnover rate? What is your staff satisfaction number? What are you doing to support your caregivers so that they can provide the care that we deserve? And if they don't give you a satisfactory answer, walk away. Go somewhere else, because there are facilities who have gotten it right. And by creating this financial incentive, we can start to change the system. We can tip the needle and begin to demand that dignity at the end of life become a right. But there's a moral imperative here as well, because most of the people listening and watching here will have options. You will be able to walk away from a facility that isn't treating its caregivers well. But not everybody has that option. Whether because of limited financial means, a lack of social support, or because they live in a community with limited options, not everybody will have that same choice. And it's for those people that we need to demand that the system change. We need to demand that the system provides and protects the right to dignity at the end of life. Because it needs to be a right for all of those people who don't have that option. So, together, I'd ask you that we start to demand this change. And in doing so, we can start to make the end of life a little bit less scary. Thank you.